Welcome to part 2 of the Wild Hunting Horn Crash Course. Despite it being part 2, it's debatably more important than 1. Why I started with Echo Bubble Optimization as part 1 is beyond me. Just like last video, this is going to be a weird combo of information that's relevant if you either have no clue at all what you're doing with this thing, or if you already know what you're doing with it. Today's topic:
what do I do with it?
All weapons have sort of an optimal playstyle, and the hunting horn is no exception. We've got songs and notes, and something about encoring, and don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Normally for the hunting horn, you learn all the music theory first, but in my opinion, Wild's horn is best learned backward. That's right, we're gonna blow into the front and suck music out the back. With one quick exception, which is
Prebuffing!
There's 2 songs on every horn that you're almost always gonna want active.
Now, there's 2 things you gotta remember, because you gotta have 2 things.
It's usually the first 2 songs, but I don't think it always is. One of them is your attack-related song. This will usually be either literally attack up, or something more subtle, like element up, or status up. And the second one is self-improvement, which both gives you an attack boost, and, just as importantly, gives you a movement speed upgrade, which is important because on the hunting horn, your main method of avoiding attacks is by not being where the attacks are. In fact, you want these 2 songs live so badly that you're gonna play them before you even fight a monster. If you watch any good hunting horn player, they're almost always gonna play at least these 2 songs before a hunt, which most people call pre-buffing. Why don't you just play it while fighting a monster? Well, you can, but trying to puzzle these songs into the first 10 to 15 seconds of a hunt is like trying to drive with your hand taped to the steering wheel. And because you're not Takumi, this almost always ends up with you getting hit or having to cancel out of playing them early, which results in even more time taken to get them live. So don't even bother with that, channel your inner teenager drinking a gallon of pre-workout and just pre-buff. To be as efficient as possible, figure out the fastest note combo on your horn to queue up all your pre-buffing songs. For example, here's what I do on the Arkfeld horn. Then play it with right trigger, do nothing till it gets through all the songs, and then hit YB together to encore it and get the upgraded effects. You'll know when that is because the songs turn purple. Now, a lot of people, including me, will also queue up their special melody while pre-buffing as well, because having your offset or damage melody on hand can be very important as well. So if you do this, just memorize a slightly longer combo. Great, now that we got those active, we can get to the actual gameplay, which is
Echo Bubbles!
In the last hunting horn video, I said echo bubbles are the most important part of the Wild's horn, and in the time since that video, I haven't changed my mind. Quick recap about how they work: you use right trigger dodge to do the circle twerkle, which will make an echo bubble appear where you did the dance. And, just like Bluetooth speakers, any song you play on your horn will get teleported to the circle and make any monster inside said circle take some damage. This can be compounded up to 3 times for up to 3 Bluetooth speakers. I mean echo bubbles. And this is, generally speaking, the most efficient way to do damage. And looking at this damage recipe, you can probably see the 2 main ingredients: circles and songs. Luckily for us, the bread and butter performance combo does both of these things.
The bread and butter combo!
The circle twerkle dance lets you input up to 3 notes while doing it. Unlike some other parts of the horn, you don't actually have to time these. You can match them super fast, or you can space them out, so long as you do them all before the animation ends. As of this video, there's a small problem where the YB note is a little funky, so if you do feel like the inputs aren't accurate, I use this Taxman video to macro it. Now, placing a circle while queuing a song is already a great combo, but the real kicker, literally, is that you can immediately follow this up by playing the song you just queued by aiming where you want to hit with focus mode and mashing right trigger. And this combo right here is going to be your bread and butter. The best part about this sequence is it has adjustable combo length and lets you cancel out at whatever time you think is best. For example, you could circle twerkle, cue a song, and then dodge immediately after without any playing. You can also circle twerkle, cue up a song into playing it one time and then dodge out, or if you have enough time, you can circle twerkle, cue a song, play it, and then encore it with YB, all depending on how long of an opening you have, if you know the monster, or faith-based reacting, if you don't. So, a lot of hunting horn gameplay involves starting this combo and then keeping your eyes on the monster to determine how long you can do it before needing to cancel out. Now, there's some openings that may be even longer than just one circle twerkle, one performance, and one encore, but luckily, this situation is covered too.
Playing multiple songs.
You probably noticed that your song queue can hold up to 3 songs. Well, 4 if you count special melody, but we don't count that one. Hashtag not a real song. And just like a corporate work environment, if you try to hire any more songs, it'll get rid of the oldest one and replace it with the newest one. As you probably figured out already, you can play more than one song in one go. If you have 3 songs, for example, hit right trigger and then just do nothing, and you'll see all 3 songs get played one by one. At any point in time during this, you can hit YB, which will take all the songs you've played during this time, and it will instantly play them all again in a little flick of your horn, which is perfect for both activating buffs as quickly as possible, like while pre-buffing, or for doing a good chunk of damage. However, instead of just letting the Spotify autoplay peacefully change from one song to the next, you can add a bit of damage by using the performance beat. Every time your horn moves from one song to another, you can hit right trigger to add in a little slap as well. Now this slap actually does quite a bit of damage, especially when stacked with this song itself, which is helpful if you want to performance beat the shit out of a monster. Okay guys, I have bad news for the rhythmlists among you. This mechanic also has a timing element to it. Yes, the music instrument has some music mechanics. If you encore or performance beat right at the very end of a song, you'll notice your instrument will flash red, and you'll do a bit more damage than usual. I would recommend practicing this outside of battle, so that when you're trying to do it in the stress of a fight, you can see just how badly you're scuffing it up.
That is not correct.
You'll eventually get the timing down intuitively, but in the spirit of mashing, what I do is wait until it's close, and then I just start mashing the performance beat or encore button. If you have 3 songs, you can technically do this 2 times and then 1 more time for the encore, but there's very few openings in this game where you're going to be able to circle twerkle, play all 3 songs, and then encore. However, because you can end this combo with an encore or dodge whenever you want, just make sure you know just how many performance beats you can get in during each opening. And if you have to choose between playing 2 songs and dodging, or 1 song, 1 encore dodging, generally 1 song, 1 encore is better. Now, up until this point, I've been explaining this combo starting with the circle twerkle, because it gives you a free bubble in song, but it's actually not always how you want to do it.
When not to twerkle.
Echo bubbles aren't infinite. You have basically bubble ammo, shown by this tuning fork on the left. Each circle ammo you place takes 30 seconds to charge up starting from the bottom, technically taking 90 seconds to go back to full. Also, placing a circle doesn't reset the recharge timer, so that 4th bubble ammo will be live again pretty quickly, but after that, it's gonna be slow sailing. So at some point, you're gonna have to start making big boy decisions about whether you want to place new circles, or try to keep the monsters in the existing ones and just play songs without the circle twerkle. Luckily, that's the part of the combo that does the most damage. However, we now have the problem of needing to queue up songs without cheating them in with the circle twerkle.
Queuing songs normally.
Okay, now we can finally go over notes and songs. The hunting horn's whole gimmick is that you queue up notes into this little measure over here by doing your normal, non-song attacks. Each note corresponds to the button you use to do that attack. Y or triangle is quarter note, B or circle is the 8th note, and YB or triangle circle, same time, is the double 8th note. There's a couple different attacks that can come out depending on whether you neutral input, directional input, or play 2 notes back to back. But there's 2 attacks specifically that let you cheat an extra note in. Those are going to be forward B and forward YB, which are called the flourish and overhead slam. Both of these attacks will let you fit in a magical extra note of your choosing into the second half of each attack, and you can see I used the flourish earlier in the pre-buffing combo. The flourish also lets you fit the best note, dodging, into the attack in case you're bombing on stage and need to make a quick exit stage left.
Oh my god, I hate this song!
Oh god, we gotta go. Because it does more damage, you usually prefer to spend less time queuing up songs and more time playing songs. So knowing how to effectively cheat notes in is going to let you get to the operatic section of your gameplay faster. However, until you get to the point where you're masterfully planning all of your songs, multi-notes, and attacks on the fly, you're probably going to have a lot of trouble queuing up songs. So to make things a little more manageable, I would recommend learning your horn's Unga Bunga combo.
Unga Bunga combo.
Each horn has what I like to call an Unga Bunga combo, or a combo of non-song attacks that naturally queues up songs just by spamming the same things over and over. It's not going to be the same on all horns, but for many of them, especially the Arkfeld one, you can usually just alternate between overhead slam sneak in Y and overhead slam sneak in B. Doing this will automatically queue up your 3 most important songs within 3 moves. Ideally, you want to make sure this combo includes your Echo Wave attack, but on a lot of horns that's just YYBB, which is oftentimes covered by this input anyway. Now obviously, openings aren't always going to be big enough to fit in an overhead slam, so oftentimes your second best friend is going to be neutral B or right swing. This is basically your fastest attack outside of flourish, sneak, and a dodge, and while this isn't always going to be the best for queuing songs, sometimes you just gotta get hits in somewhere. Once you get these down, I would recommend trying to actively queue up songs with all of your moves. The Unga Bunga combo will be useful in a lot of situations, but if you need to really be optimal, you need to be constantly planning the next songs you want to queue and picking attack options that both queue up that song and fit into the opening windows on the monster. This can be very difficult, and I mess it up all the time. Luckily, there's one final way to queue up songs.
Focus attack.
Your focus or wound attack lets you queue up to 5 free notes, but unlike the circle twerkle, you actually have to time these. If you don't time them, then you don't get to do all of them, and you don't get this rockstar finisher at the end, which on its own is reason enough to get the timing right. The easiest way to do this is to pick a 5-note combo on your horn that queues up as many songs as possible. On the Arkfeld horn, I use y, y, b, y, b, y, which once again queues up 3 important songs in one go, but this will vary depending on horn. Now, like everything else in this video, this combo will be useful most of the time, but once you start getting it down, you're going to want to start using the focus attack to pick whatever 5 notes are the most relevant to you in that moment. If you have no songs, it usually will be the easy combo, but other times it'll be your special melody, sometimes you'll need it to finish queuing a song and start queuing a new one, and occasionally you need to queue no songs, because you already have 3 good ones queued up, but the wound attack and finisher still requires you to input 5 notes. So you'll just do B, 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 which won't queue up any songs, and is still more complex than the average Chainsmokers melody. Picking the correct 5 notes at any given moment while timing them is quite difficult, but it's yet another way to effectively queue up songs.
Putting it all together.
Now in my opinion, on the surface level, Wild's hunting horn is super mashy, which is why I love it so much. But the second reason I love it is because it's mashing that requires thought. Because managing circles, controlling and keeping monsters inside of them, and making sure you always have the correct songs queued up to punish the monster does actually require a lot of attention, and if done wrong will leave you with an empty hunting horn. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps anyone who's picking up the horn, and I'll see you guys next time.